Welcome back to Space Invaders TV, folks. Listen, I know y'all probably, some of you might already know in the Guilford County area, but maybe some of you don't know already. But she's out of here. Sharon Contreras is out of here. She's set to be leaving the Guilford County school system. And let me just go backwards for a little minute. Sharon Contreras, Superintendent of Guilford County Schools. She's out of here. Yes, finally, she's out of here. She announced today that she'll be leaving Guilford County Schools the end of this school year, 2022. It came through Fox 8 News and other media outlets around the state got it as well. We're just going to read it here. If you have it, I'm assuming that you may not have, heard it. Guilford County Superintendent named CEO of the Innovation Project will leave GCS at the end of the school year. Let's go on here. Guilford County, a Piedmont Triad Superintendent is stepping away to take on a new role. At the end of the 2021-2022 school year, the Superintendent of Guilford County Schools, Sharon Contreras, will be taking a position as the CEO of a non-profit called the Innovation Project. A non-profit called the Innovation Project. We can build brighter futures for our children. While the pandemic has exacerbated long entrenched challenges and it has also called us to harness our creativity and will to innovate. Build the extraordinary legacy of the Innovation Project. My vision is to use its significant human, social, and political capital to galvanize adults and children to think, act, and work in new ways to achieve outsized gains in student outcome and eradicate racial achievement gaps that ultimately hold us back from realizing our individual collective potential. Then it goes on here. See here. Goes on to say what? According to a press release during Dr. Contreras' tenure, Guilford County Schools has increased academic achievement in all testing subject areas at all levels and for all demographic groups in 2019, and now racial achievement gaps. The district has dramatically increased student participation in tuition-free dual enrollment programs, achieved a graduation rate of 91.5% and set a district record with seniors earning more than $193 million in college scholarships and grants. Dr. Contreras has provided extraordinary leadership in these dynamic times. Even prior to the pandemic, she was relentless in keeping us focused on what can and must do to improve outcomes for students. She is creative, courageous, and brilliant. We will miss her, but remain grateful for all of the ways her contributions here will be felt for years to come, said Dina Hayes Green. We are excited that Dr. Contreras will be lending her experience and expertise to the Innovation Project, and Dr. Kim Morrison, Chair of TIP Board of Directors and Superintendent of Mount Airy City Schools. She is a well-known leader throughout the country and has led efforts in innovation and equity in her amazing career. The Innovation Project is a national leader in innovation, and Dr. Contreras will continue to champion work for children through this great superintendent-led organization. Contreras will continue to lead Guilford County Schools through the end of this academic year and will start with the Innovation Project in August of 2022. Contreras was named Superintendent of Guilford County Schools in 2016, and she was the first woman, first Latino person, and second African American person to hold that title. All right, where do we start? Okay, let's let's talk about something here. Now, first, all right, I told you guys, I told y'all last year. If you've been following me, since since last year, since 2020, if you've been following me, you know that I've called it, and I said that she was going to jump ship. And I gave you a lot of specifics why. And all the writing was on the wall, okay? Now let's go here when they talk about all the innovative things she's done for Guilford County. I missed something. I'm trying to figure out what was innovative that she done. These people seen something that us parents and us people in the community that's concerned about education did not see. Okay? We did not see. All right? The teachers are the ones that are motivating these children. They're in there day in and day out. They know these kids like the back of their hand. You know? They're knowing these children, these students' trials and tribulations. They're knowing this. They're knowing these students' parents. Some teachers may have even taught some of these students today, parents, yesterday. Okay? Sharon Contreras, what is she innovative about? All of I seen was nothing happening. Nothing. A bunch of confusion going on. Leadership, where? Okay? I'm a black man. I'm black. I ain't got to tell you that. Okay? We all can see that, right? So, let's just nix the BS about the first black multicultural, multi-race woman, Latino, African, Latino. Let's just kill all that, okay? There's a job to be done, all right? And that's what you guys brought her into Guilford County Schools under. Oh, she's the first Afro-Latino woman superintendent. Okay, that's great. What else? Or what are we going to see here? What we seen was nothing. All right? I told you guys in 2020 she was going to jump ship. She did the same thing here in Guilford County that she did in Syracuse, New York. Okay? She didn't finish out her contract. She jumped ship right when she knew it was going to be a new change of the guard. It was going to be new board members coming in. She got up out of there. And what did she wind up at when she left there? Guilford County Schools. That's what she wound up at. Okay? So, and then these folks extended her contract here. Okay? They extended her contract in 2021. Okay? Just in August of 2021. They extend her contract. All right? The writing was on the wall. Why would you extend her contract? GCS schools, GCS, the commissioners, the county, everyone need to be ashamed of themselves. They really need to be ashamed of themselves. And I know you should be kicking yourself right now, because you extended a woman's contract that in 2020 she threw her hat in the ring to be on Biden's administration as Secretary of Education. She didn't get that job. Okay, this was public. This was known. She didn't get that job. Okay, this is before you guys even extended her contract a whole year or so before. Okay, you guys turn around and then she threw her in the. That news broke actually right when the pandemic started to drop in about March, April of 2020, and that news came down. In the midst of the pandemic, when there need to be some direction, at the time where the superintendent of schools should be focused on that, this woman, Sharon Contreras, was thinking of jumping ship. So imagine if she would have got the job with the Biden administration, what she would have done to the children at that time. Jump ship. She's innovative. Yeah, she's innovative at fraud and systems. That's what she's innovative as. Running around and getting these positions, not doing no job, not doing no work. Just a dog and pony show, and getting people around her, and for whatever reason, riling people up under whatever presumptions, and then she flees in the night with the bag. She leaves with the bag and leave you standing there with your hands out like the Monopoly man. Pockets, rabbit ears. Nothing got done in this school system. She caused a lot of confusion amongst parents in the Guilford County school system, teachers, students, staff, and the faculty. You just were hearing everything like folks weren't happy. Folks weren't happy. So she's all that is innovative. I'm trying to see where the innovativeness was at, because where was the innovation when it was time when you had 3 schools, Peeler, Hampton, and Irwin Montessori, that back in 2017, 2018, when the tornado came through Guilford County, and those schools, had damage to them. And 2 of them still sit dormant today. Okay? Hampton and Irwin Montessori sits dormant today as we speak. Vacant. Just with no solid plans. No one ever spoke of it. Once you got the $10.1 million insurance money back in 2018 for those 3 buildings, could have gotten a lot more. I spoke about this back in 2020. Okay? And what happened? She came in 2016. What has she done? I'm not blaming her for the tornado. Can't blame man for, natural disasters. But it's what man does after the fact to try to clean up things. And nothing got done. Okay? She done nothing. All right? And I can speak on that about Irwin Montessori because my child went to that school and was displaced. So you telling me that, and there's children still right now to this day, okay, that are displaced. They're at other schools, okay. The children from Irwin Montessori went to Elementary, okay, all the way out Elements Road in Greensboro, okay, out in the county, okay. I'm not for sure where really the other children went from, like Peeler and Hampton. I'm not really for sure with that, where they all went at that time. I want to say one of the schools went out to the elementary school out in Brown Summit. But don't quote me on that. If you're from the area, So those students are still displaced today, ladies and gentlemen. And nobody's even talking about that. They never talk about that. Okay? You hear nothing of that. And she has the nerve to boast about student academics and how she raised the scores. You didn't raise the scores. You didn't help those kids graduate. You didn't do anything but show up to maybe a few of those graduations and talk and grin. You didn't do anything. It was those teachers. It was those staff. Those teachers that today were feeling very unappreciated. Those same teachers, those school bus drivers that making sure those students get to school. Yeah, everybody else, not you, not your board members either. The hang-ons, not them. The teachers in the building, the board members, let's be clear here. These board members don't go in these schools. They don't go in these schools, okay? Unless they're invited. They don't pop up, okay? Anybody by a show of hands, just raise your hand if you ever seen one of them in a school or anywhere outside of a school. Nah, me neither. So, let's move on. So, she boasts about the scores in the schools, the reading, the test scores, everything going up. How so when you got 16 restart schools? 16 restart schools in Guilford County, okay? And started this school year, 16, okay? That's because they're low performing, 16 low performing schools. So how did you do anything, okay? And what was the plan? What's the plan to get those restart schools out of that rut? And I'm going to tell you, just to give you a little bit about the restart schools. I talked about it before. If you've been following me, I talked about it, but I'm going to break it down again. Majority of the restart schools are in low, in what they like to call impoverished areas. Low, but I say low income areas. That's what majority of the 16 restart schools are. Middle schools, and I think it's 2 high schools on the restart list, okay? I'm not going to drop the school names. If you're in Guilford County, you can look them up yourself. And those are the schools, the restart schools are the ones, and they are mainly the reasons why the low performing schools and the those schools are mainly the reason why a lot of funds have come through the county, you know, because they'll restart, they're in low income neighborhoods, you know, and so they feel the need to shell out a lot of funding, you know, for those schools. But then those schools never see half of the funds that come through. So much so that all the schools in Guilford County, majority of them, a good 85%, 88% of the schools in Guilford County are 50 plus years old. Failing HVAC system, roofs, everything, windows, everything. They just need major upgrades, okay? So let's talk about some things here, okay? She come in, you know, Sharon Contreras comes in, they give her this contract, and she's leaving y'all in a bigger mess than what it was when she came in, okay? And it's a shame. It's a real shame. And all parties involved need to really, you know what I'm saying, be ashamed of themselves. Skip Austin, you too. You need to be ashamed of yourself. She made you come clean late last year, late 2021, huh? And you wound up really coming clean and talked about how Guilford County has dropped the ball on the school system here and failed these children. You come clean about that, didn't you, Skip Austin? You said it yourself, personally, on the news. Yeah. You know, shame. You come from the city council and you moved your way up. You seen these things, you seen these issues, and you failed to not do anything when you really had the chance to do something. And we're gonna see what you're gonna do now. Because, you know, let's be clear, you're one of the older elder statesmen that sits in these in those seats that can move some things. Want to see you move some things instead of moving some things for yourself, Skippy. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You got a realtor firm and everything in the city here, man. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of things cooking, Holmes. Like, get some things moving on this education tip here. You know, these kids deserve that. But see, that plan y'all set out, you know, Sharon Contreras jumping ship. She leaving y'all hole in holding the whole bucket, man. Holding that empty bucket. She leaving y'all right there. She getting up out of here, but she taking that bag with her though. You know, she still gonna get paid. She getting up out of here, you heard? And leaving y'all. So what y'all gonna do? A lot of promises were made about upgrading these schools. We know it's gonna take a long time. What y'all gonna do? But let's go down the timeline of Sharon Contreras, shall we? Let's I have a timeline of Sharon Contreras. So 2016, she's hired for Guilford County Schools. 2017-2018 school year rolls around. You know, 3 schools were impacted, like I said earlier, by a tornado that came through and that swept through the county. You know, pretty much swept through the South. You know, some of the southern states. You know, and a lot of homes were damaged here. A lot of property was damaged here in Guilford County, and other parts of Carolina. But the 3 schools in out of Guilford County and Greensboro that were impacted, it was Peeler, Hampton, and Irwin Montessori. Okay, Sharon Contreras was in this seat 2017-2018. I said she got hired in 2016. Okay, so those schools received in 2018, late 2018, they received $10.1 million in insurance money. The insurance company at that time said Guilford County could have received more. But the schools were so old and fell in HVAC systems. You know, you had mold and things of that nature. Just those 3 schools alone. So if nobody knew anything else at that time, that should have raised the flag right there. No, you can't blame her because those issues were going, but we're going to move forward now. So, still in 2021, to this day, those schools sit dormant. But one of them actually caught fire. What was that? Last year. Late last year. Peeler caught fire. Out of nowhere, a mysterious fire. The school was boarded up. It caught fire. Immediately, Guilford County Contreras, Guilford County rushed in and had the school bulldozed down. Next thing you know, they talking about building up 3 new schools. But you had 3 schools sitting for years after the tornado. You had many folks' homes that were damaged during that tornado that was actually built up right after that. You know, I mean, some of them took a little bit of time, but they still got built up. It was a church right next door to Irwin Montessori and a home. They're both back. And it took those 2 properties some time to get rebuilt. But they're back up and they're looking beautiful. Okay? Irwin Montessori still sits there dormant. Vacant. Like, it's a shame. You know, a good piece of property there, a good school there, just needed some TLC. But they just left it. Still no plans. Don't hear anything about it. Okay? Let's move on here. October the 7th, 2021, that's where Peeler catches fire. Like I said, weeks later, it got bulldozed down. Mind you, in August of 2021, GCS extends her contract. They extend Contreras' contract. Meanwhile, we still have schools in dire need, major issues, and needing major upgrades. Major upgrades. Okay? I can't even tell you, like, hundreds of work orders out for the schools. Hundreds of work orders. 126 schools in Guilford County. They had about 100 work orders. Okay? Let's go on here. Beginning of the pandemic, March of 2020. Now, I'm bouncing back and forth with these dates here. Just follow me. Beginning of the pandemic, about March of 2020. Contreras finds out about the COVID relief funds, and she's going at the county for funding. By spring of 2021, Contreras GCF received over $500 million. I want to say it was exactly $530 million, okay, for COVID relief. And that was to go towards the education, okay? By September 2021, Contreras GCS come under fire as various schools send students home for failing HVAC systems, roof issues, and more. 50 year old schools, 50 years plus old schools in Guilford County. You can look it up yourself. You know, nope. Now let's go on. We're going down the timeline here, folks. So let me go ahead. 2021. Teachers weren't happy. School bus drivers requesting more money and bonuses. 2022. Sharon Contreras, GCS claimed 3 more new schools to be built. Fall of 2021. County commissioners seeking answers from GCS, from Guilford County Schools, as to why, you keep coming and asking for money, but they're not seeing any receipts. And the county specifically let GCS schools know, we don't cut checks until we get receipts from work done. We pay as the work been done. So whenever they do a job, we cut a check for it. But you're not going to get the money flat out in your hand. This was even in an article in the Rhino Times, and I believe News and Record, 2 Greensboro publications. They even published it. I spoke on it. Winter of 2021. After all the funding received, we hear nothing of repairs. Still, we hear nothing of what's being prepared in the schools. Just the other day, I seen something. They were walking around one of the schools, one of the high schools here in Greensboro. And I'm saying to myself, why are we playing this game? There we go. Like I said, kicking the can down the road. Why are we playing this game? You know the things that need to be done. You know the work orders that you received over the years. I'm pretty sure the maintenance departments in the schools have been sending the same work orders over and over again, trying to get you guys to do something. And they probably get the same response every time. Nothing. Crickets. Okay? So why are we going back to these schools walking around when you know what the work that needs to be done? You had a school that was one of the high schools that sent students home back in August of 2021 because of the failing HVAC system. Okay? The heat and everything was all off. Okay? So why are we playing these games? Okay? So, moving on. January 2022. Contreras still facing teacher shortage as well as school bus drivers. And she asked parents and students to carpool with no real plan of her own. Okay? No real plan of her own. Once again, but it seems someone was watching my show, because on January the 6th, when I spoke about that issue of her talking about parents should carpool, if there's any students in their neighborhood that need to ride to school, the parents should carpool. You're trying to tell the parents what to do, but the school system had no plan of their own. Again, she's not a leader. She's not even a proven leader. I don't know what these people are talking about, okay? I'm running a timeline down here, and I'm not even talking on everything. I'm not even going through everything in this timeline, because you could go back to 2020 when I started talking about the schools, and when I started every issue, I was on it, okay? So my stuff is documented. I'm just giving you a brief synopsis and breakdown right now, okay? Just to give you a little taste of something here when these folks say, oh, she was innovative, she was this. No, she wasn't. And nobody never ever challenged me on none of my videos. Some of you have 1 or 2 tried, but they'll delete their comments ASAP before I can even really see them. But I know that they tried, So nobody never really challenged me on nothing I was saying, But because I knew I had my facts and I had it in black and white. Okay, I wasn't just spewing off the top of my head. I was actually, but what I was giving off the top of my head was some common sense thoughts, critical thinking. That's what I was doing when I hear and know of a situation. I come with the critical thinking, which they didn't have. So how is she innovative? Mighty funny. Before I did the video, and around the 5th of January, the 4th of January, Guilford County Schools were talking, yeah, parents should, carpool and any children in your neighborhood. But then when they did everything that I said in my video, I said, how about you get some of the workers? And I'm mainly talking about the board members. Why don't they get on those buses and drive them? Or why don't they get some shuttle vans and go pick up those students? As well as leave options with, if the students want to catch public transportation, let it be open for them. You got the shuttle vans, and you have the school bus. Have some folks driving those school bus. I even threw out there about having the students, the responsible students who have license, make it get with the governor and make it some type of some emergency. Make it some type of state of emergency. I don't know what you want to call it, but bring that back, because you're in dire need. And pay those students as well. Because you will pay those drivers. That's why you don't have them, and you have a shortage around the state, around the whole country. They're crying about not having drivers. So pay those students. Let's not short them on that. So that was also something I added in there as well. All right. But let's go on here. So we're still in 2022, right? We're now in 2022, right? January 2022. Second week into 2022. Contreras is finally stepping down. But is anyone surprised? It's like I said previously, in 2020, she was trying to gain a spot with the Biden administration to get a position as the Secretary of Education. That should have been a red flag. If you don't know a red flag and no other time, GCS, you should have knew that was a red flag then. Okay? And it went public. That was a red flag then, like, hey, you guys better get on the bike and start looking. But guess what you did? In August of 2021, she did that. That was publicized in 2020. But in August of 2021, you guys extended this woman's contract for 5 years. And guess what? She's walking up out of here owing you 4 years. And she did nothing. Nothing at all, but cause a bunch of confusion and leave you guys with a desk turned over. That's what she leave me with. She's going to go do nonprofit work. Let's think about this, folks. I'm glad she's leaving. Let's be clear on that. So you can get somebody in here, like I've been saying, that's going to do the job and do what they need to do. And now the scope is on GCS to how are you going to do with your vetting process? How are you going to choose the next candidate this time? What are you going to do this time to better ensure that you got the right person in the seat and you keep the right person in the seat to do what's needed to be done? What are you going to do about the promises that are put on the table about upgrading these schools? What are you going to do about that? Okay? Because you got someone here that's up and bounced on you, which I already knew was coming. I mean, the writing was on the wall. When a woman put her hat in the ring and was a runner-up for, the Biden administration for being the Secretary of Education for the United States, I knew then. I was like, wow, this lady's crazy right in the midst of the pandemic. That's what you're thinking about? You're not trying to fix the issues with the school system? Like, no, at the time of the pandemic and everyone was quarantined and students were remote learning, you, along with other people, were sitting home on your hands, doing nothing. waiting to see what the government is going to do. That's what the Guilford County Schools did and get Sharon Contreras. I mean, heck, even the commissioner said, the county said that, hey, we told them, they kept coming back for more, wanting more funding for this and that or whatever. And they said, hey, we told them to make sure that in order for them to get certain funds, they need to have the kids, not the kids, excuse me, they need to have, maintenance crews in the schools working and making sure that they are getting the schools ready for the students to come back for the 2021 school year. All right? They had no one in the schools the summer of they had no one in the schools, okay, doing anything. And they told them, they said that was part of the plan, but you didn't do it. Okay? And they were trying to find out, never get no real answers. Nothing. She was running a dictatorship over there. They talking about she's innovative, but she's going to go work for a not-for-profit company, the Innovative Project. Now, this is a little ass backwards to me, because I would think, excuse me, folks, I would think that you would go do that type of work early on in your career. Okay? Early on in your career, you will go do that type of work, get some experience, right? No, but you were doing that, Sharon Contreras, in Syracuse. You were a superintendent there. You left them high and dry. All everyone has to do is just Google Sharon Contreras, superintendent of schools in Syracuse, New York. All you have to do is Google it. You're gonna see every single thing how she's leaving here, same way she left there. I've called it back in 2020 that she was going to bounce and leave the same way she did there. Let me, if you don't know anything else, let me give you a little gem right here real quick. When folks have bad habits, they don't leave them, okay? They just don't escape them like that, okay? You have to work on fixing the bad habits, all right? So, most times when people leave jobs and everything, and they're not changing career fields or anything, they're the same. Those same habits they're going to bring right on with them, and it don't even matter if they're changing career fields or not. That's the same habits that they had from the last employer. They're going to bring it to the new one. Okay, so if they like to go take breaks, and they like to always stay 30 minutes longer on their breaks, if that's what they were accustomed doing, they're going to do that in a new job. If you got to always call this employee and try to get them on the phone, they're never around the phone. The phone is always off. You got to keep calling and sending emails, and then they'll finally respond to about the 25th email. That's a habit that they had from the last place, okay? And if you don't check it, it's just going to get worse. So she come to Guilford County with those same habits. Guilford County Schools is a little bigger than the Syracuse school system she came from, okay? K through 12, okay? She couldn't handle a smaller school system like where she came from. How the hell do you put her in charge of something that's bigger? And what was the qualification? Like, what did she bring to you guys? Like, that'll really make you say, like, wow, she's going to do the job here. She did the same thing. All she's doing is a fraud, man. She's running around, faking the funk, and she's going to get these jobs. She's taking the bag and running. They extended her contract too in Syracuse, right? When they did, she left them with about 3.5 years on the table and winded up here. She's doing the same thing here. She's bouncing on GCS schools here, leaving 4 years on the table. You know? No work done. Show me the work that's been done. Show me something that's been done. Don't show me a new school. Show me about these schools, about 100 of these schools that need upgrades that have got upgraded. None yet. And she and his GCS schools has received money since last year. Before last year, since like the end of 2020. Funding started to trickle down into the school systems, around the country. Joe Biden just said it himself, earlier in the week. The United States government has shelled out for the education system in the country. They have shelled out for COVID relief funds for the school system. Okay, $140 billion. He said it himself. $140 billion. Okay? He said it, the president. That's what they shelled out for the school system, the entire school system. They had the budget for them, for the relief funds, so all the schools should have that money at this time. There are various schools around the country and around the state who did well with that money. I've reported on that. I talked about that. I talked about the schools spending their money frivolously. Okay, I talked about that. Schools doing crazy stuff with the relief money. You had schools around the country just upgrading football fields and just building outhouses and just doing crazy stuff with the money. Not really doing anything that they should be doing. But the government, like Biden said, he gave you the money. Everybody was complaining. You had schools around the country talking about they going to remote learning. He's like, no, the kids can stay in school. They need to stay in school. We gave up $140 billion. He said billion. He said, I said billion with a B. And he meant that. He gave up funding. The government gave up funding. We don't want to hear that. You keep them kids in school. You gave you all the money you need to do and make it do what it do. But what we have here is you got superintendents all around the country. I reported on that too. If y'all been checking me and paying attention, since the beginning of the school year, this school year, the 2021-2022 school year, okay? In the South, some of the southern states, they go back early in August. So since August. And then you have other states going back in September. Then you had some schools that were all year round, but due to COVID, So we talking August, between August and September, from August 2021, all the way up until the end of the year. I haven't heard anything so far. This the start of 2022 yet, but all the way through the whole year, every week you had superintendents around the country getting fired or quitting. Secretary of Educations, for the states, quitting, getting fired for whatever reason. Every week. This is no exaggeration. This was going on every week. I know because I'm tapped into a lot of the systems around the country. I know. And I was getting emails every other day, if not every day some weeks. Okay? So what you have here, Contreras, is just another one of those superintendents. They can't stand the heat. They ain't built for the job. So when it gets hot in the kitchen, they flee. The truth gonna come out. And like I told you guys again, if you've been following me since 2020, when I started back on my channel here, I told you guys this pandemic, they're gonna pull the curtain back from all the BS, and you're gonna see who's really who during this pandemic. So many things have come to light during this pandemic. I'm telling you, it's like a revelation. Like so many things were coming to light. I mean, about the school system, the law enforcement, the things that been, it just everything. What we all knew is all coming to light, And now you had the folks. It's like roaches when the lights come on. The lights on, everybody's scattering now, trying to save face, but it's too late. Okay, so everybody, let's be thankful. Like I said before, we got to get people up out of here like Contreras. So however she got up out of here, whether it was pressure from the folks around her or whatever, whether it was pressure from me, because they've been listening. Trust me, okay? Trust me. And I know you've been listening. Last week told me to tell that you guys were listening. Monday you told me to tell when I seen that everything that I talked about on January the 6th, you guys did it. Guilford County Schools. You got coaches, you had staff or whatever driving those buses and shuttle buses picking up those kids. Everything that I said, they did besides one thing. You're still going to have the shortage. And you should think about the state should really think about implementing and bringing it back and letting the students drive the school buses. The responsible ones, if anything, because you just can't stop the education. And the government ain't going to let you because they gave up too much money and they ain't trying to hear it. They gave up too much money. They ain't trying to hear it. So y'all going to stay in school because the government said so. Well, guess what? They're going to be coming for their money. And they're going to want it back with interest. Disrespect them if you want. You know what I'm saying? Disrespect them if you want. And like I said, we got her up out of here, however it happened. Whether it was pressure from her peers, whether it was pressure from Sharon Contreras' peers or the folks around her, and parents, and folks just like me, I've been putting pressure. I've been talking. I ain't gonna stop. You know what I mean? And I'm glad she's gone. Now we on to the next. Well, she ain't gone yet. She'll be gone in August. But it's gonna be on to the next. And making sure we keeping folks honest and holding them accountable while they dealing with our children, man. Because these people come around, and they not built. They're not set up to do the job. See, now, if nobody would have been putting pressure on her, she might have not left. She seems to be the type of person, she'll sit there and as long as someone let her. But see, when the pressure comes, she's going to fold. Second time she done did it. I just don't know how someone, Guilford County Schools, the commissioners, all parties involved, board members, I just don't understand how you put somebody in a position that had a hard time running a smaller school system, and she comes to a larger school system here in Guilford County. You guys bring her on for that. And you guys gave her full reign. She took the keys from you guys and threw you in the back seat. I never seen an employee tell the employer what they gonna do. Never seen it before. It's first time. She's a secretary to the board. That's what a superintendent is, the secretary to the board. She has to adhere to the board. Wherever superintendent around the country is a secretary to the board. Okay? The school board, may I add, okay? So, when you see something like that, we got a problem. A serious problem. And all those who were, responsible for bringing her here, you know who you are. You're going to be next. You're going to be next. You're going to be out of here if you ain't already planning on being out of here. You know who I'm talking to. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a bow. She's getting out of here. However, she's getting out of here. She's out. Okay? And Guilford County Schools, you just got a mess to clean up. You got some things to clean up. And even through all of this, you got folks still championing her and saying that she done a great job. Not so disrespectful. Not even saying anything about the teachers, which she's done. She hasn't done anything. And that's the problem. When you take credit for the work of someone else, and it's clear the work of someone else. Let's be understanding here. The question that should have been asked? What should have been brought up? How many teachers has she been responsible for coming to the county? How many teachers has she been responsible for coming to the county? I bet you can tell you how many she's responsible for leaving. And I bet he can tell you how many she was responsible for having one foot out the door. But now they know that she's leaving, they're going to come back. Okay? You probably get all those teachers to come back once she's gone. Watch. Watch. It ain't going to be nothing mysterious neither. Watch it happen, folks. But that's my time. I just wanted to jump in and chime in and let y'all know. I wasn't going to let it go too long. I couldn't wait till next week. I just wanted to let y'all know that I told y'all this was going to happen. I'm not shocked at all. I'm here for it. And I just wanted, I gave a brief rundown of the timeline, of what has been going on and her responses. Did you hear me give any response after those years, those timelines? Her responses were zero, nothing, zero, nada, none. No response to nothing. Same as it's been with the parents and the teachers. No response. The dictatorship is what she was running. Okay? So it's really going to be a circus now that she's really is already publicized that she's out of there. It's just going to be a whole circus. So that's my time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a bow. Contreras is out of here. She's gone. However, we got her out. Poof. Till next time, folks. I'm your host, Rashawn K. Looker. This is Space Invader TV. Make sure you tell a friend, Share this channel with your family and friends, your loved ones. Don't keep this information for yourself. Pass it around. Subscribe to the page so that way, and hit the notification bell. So every time that I post, you'll know, and you don't always have to come checking back or anything like that. You'll know. Just hit the notification bell. Until next time, I'm gone.